Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts. We are here in Cardiff for the Red Dragon Champion of Champions. So we've got none other than friend of the show, Colin Lloyd. Colin, what a venue and what a place this is.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, myself and Bobby travelled down yesterday and we popped up and had a little look. Obviously the venue wasn't open then, but it's a great venue and it's a great little area, and what a great crowd in there.
Cutthroat darts as well, best of three all the way through.
Reminds me back in the days of when I was a young boy starting out in my hometown, best of three, and yeah, it's an equaliser. It's a case of, you know, you've got Gerwen Price in there, Johnny Clayton, you know, proper named dart players that play in proper ranked events and majors and whatever. They can be taken out. If you can take the first leg, you're putting the pressure all on them because they've got to win the next leg. Otherwise, they're done.
It's just where the youth of today miss out a little bit because, like you say, back in the day when we used to play in pubs and clubs growing up, It was like this where the youth don't play this anymore, do they?
No, it's always like set play or best of 7 or best of 5 and whatever. But there's a lot of youngsters qualified here. That's the great thing about this event. You know, you get through the qualifier, you get the chance to play against proper big name players, and listen, you can get 10 grand for being the winner of this. That's not to be sniffed at. And you know, the young lads, they can come in here. They've got a lot of growing up to do because, like I said, it's cutthroat, but it's great. I'm loving watching it.
To say a lot as well, like you say, likes of Johnny Clayton are here, Gerwen Price are here, that how much this means to a lot of people now.
But it's just a massive event, you know. Red Dragon, fortunately, have brought it back with the same sort of like rules and regs of what the old News of the World was. And this is what it's all about. You know, it's about having qualifiers and then them 256 people meeting for one day, playing off, best of 3. Listen, if you're the last man standing, like I said, 10 grand in your bin. But you know what's great as well, Phil? You come here, you get a bit despondent if you get beat. They put on a plate trophy as well. Grand the winner. So you get 2 bites of the cherry. All right, your 10 grand chance and becoming the champion of this event is gone. But you've still got a chance to go downstairs, playing the same sort of setup, great setup, people still watching. They've still got a chance to win a nice few quid.
As well, lots going on in the darting world at the moment. Michael van Gerwen winning back-to-back World Series titles. I know we spoke in Blackpool, and there was a slight concern there, wasn't there? Like, was it bordering crisis? Now, obviously, he's put that right again and he's shown what a champion he is. Were you ever concerned about his form?
No, not really. They say, you know, this old saying from years ago, that form is temporary, class is permanent. You know, it's not that he's become a bad player overnight. He just lost his way a little bit and forgot how to win. But now it seems like he's back on the winning trail. And, you know, next big one really is going to be the World Grand Prix. That'll be the big tester for him. And we'll see what happens there.
Do you think a lack of rivalries in the sport has almost made him switch off? Because before he was always chasing Barney to be #1 Dutch player. Then there was him and Phil had that great rivalry. For the last 2 years, him and Gary. Where this year, there's no one to really push him, is there?
But that's when you have to step up to the plate. You know, if you want to be the #1 player in the world and you want to be the cream of the cream, you've got to keep pushing on. You can't just think because Gary's not there or Phil's not there. You know, you've still got Rob Cross, Peter Wright. You know, you've got many, many more players. Even the guys down in the lower rankings. If you want to take them for granted, you're going to get taken out and you're going to get punished. So no, I think he's still kept a level head. And I think that's proven now down in Australia that he's starting to hit the gears again.
Speaking of Rob Cross, got that monkey off his back about the world being a fluke and finally winning another major televised title. Do you think he needed that?
He'd be the one to tell you that, but I think it was something that was playing on his mind because his first major title was the World Championship. That's massive. He's won the biggest one of all. But I think he was always a class act. He put a target on his back, and the players were queuing up, as they do. They queue up to think, right, I'm going to take you down a peg or two, and I think that got to him a little bit. But now, like you say, he's won another major, and he's won, in my eyes, the second biggest major on the tour. And I think he can just relax now and just let the darts flow.
A lot of talk on social media around Leighton Bennett and the Grand Slam. Now, I know you talked about this on the Sky Sports podcast. Where do you stand on this? Obviously, because I say where do you stand on this because obviously the PDC have got set rules in place about the age you can play in an event, which would have to be altered for him to play. But where it's a BDO pick, I think that's where they get round it. Yeah. Is it too young, or would you include him?
Well, listen, he's travelling the circuit. He's on the tour. If the PDC do have a rule in, then no, he can't play. I didn't know that ruling was in there. But if they've got that ruling...
Well, you've got to be 16 to play on the Challenge Tour, Development Tour.
Well, if there's a ruling that says he can't play, then he can't play. You can't just go changing it for one person. That's all I'm going to say on that. But he seems like he's a likeable enough lad. He seems like he's level-headed. He seems like he's an extremely good dart player. I'd let him have a crack. But rules and regulations are there, and you can't just break them for one person. But we'll just wait and see. If the BDO pick him as one of their picks, that'll be interesting to see what the PDC do. Because you'll have players, and I'll be one of them if I was on the circuit. I'll be saying, hang on a minute, you've got these rules and regulations that have been there all this time, and now you're changing it. You can't just change it as and when you want. You know, when he's played in it, will they then reinsert that and put it back the way it was? As soon as you've done it once, you've got to open it up for everyone. I
might be wrong. I think they get round it because he can play on the BDO tour, so in theory they can give him a pick. I think that's how they get round it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I know we're laughing about it, but I think that's the...
Listen, he's a good enough kid. He's smashing in some averages and whatever, and he seems like he can hold his own. Listen, if they want to give him a go, he's obviously earned the chance. So if they want to give him a go, give him a go.
Do you think it is a bit young though, putting all this pressure on such a young shoulders?
No, not really. Not really. He's confident enough about who he can play and the way he can play. And if he's confident enough, give him a go. Why not?
Well, looking forward to the rest of the year. As a player, this was the schedule that you go, right, here we go. TV titles around every corner. But it's every player got one eye on Ali Pally now as well for their form and everything like that.
It's pushing to that sort of area now. You're getting into the latter part of the year now, but I never looked at Ali Pally until everything else was done. You know, people might say that was too late, but listen, you've got the World Grand Prix to come. You've still got the Grand Slam to come if you're still in it. They're two massive titles to win.
Players' Championships.
Players' Championships. So 3 big TV events to focus on. Why would you look past them 3 to focus on the Worlds? You know, if you're playing well in those 3 events, why are you all of a sudden not going to be playing well for the Worlds? I know a lot of people used to say, well, I've got one eye on the Worlds now. Me personally, I've never done that. It was just every tournament as it comes, even the tournaments that are away from the telly. If you don't focus on each and every tournament, I sometimes think you're taking your eye off the ball completely. So I should just focus on everything in between, and then the Worlds was another one that will be happening. You know when the Worlds is. You don't have to keep one eye on it to see when it is. You know when it's happening, and the draw's done in enough time. You know what day you're playing, what date, everything, what time. So no, I never used to do that. But some players are different. Some people gear it all up to the big one, but I like the ones in between as well.
This is where the pressure comes as well, where if you haven't quite qualified, well, you're scrambling for every pound note as well to make sure you're at these events.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It is getting to a point now where if you're down around that sort of like 60, 64 area sort of thing, even a little bit lower than that, and you don't qualify for events, you're sort of thinking to yourself, I could lose my tour card here, and I might have to go to Q school. And that puts added pressure on itself. You know, I went through that. It was getting down. And I never qualified for a lot of things come towards the end. And ultimately, I lost my tour card. You know, it was gutting. But, you know, if I'd have played better earlier on in the year or the year before, you know, I wouldn't have had them problems. But that's just life. That's just the way it goes.
Colin, absolute pleasure talking to you here at the Red Dragon Champions, mate. Thank you very much, as always.
Thanks very much. Cheers, buddy. Thank you.